Hey guys, it's Lord again, coming to you from Germany, in case you're wondering about my strange accent. Today I'm gonna be drawing a random page from a book I recently read. So a while ago I saw a really fun idea for a drawing video, which I wanted to do myself. Another reason why this fits perfectly in my great plan is that I recently found out about BookTube or hashtag BookTube. It's basically an online YouTube community of book lovers, book readers, book reviewers. As far as I understood it, it's basically a hashtag that you put behind a video or some content that has something to do with books and your love for it. And since I love books very, very much, I have a bookshelf that is almost as big and full as my games shelf, and I really was looking for some kind of way to get my own book reviews into some content that fits onto one of my channels. So today I want to draw a random page from this book here. It's The Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss. It's the second part of the Kingkiller Chronicles, I think, which is supposed to be a fantasy trilogy that's very promising. I love the first part, which is called, I think, The Name of the Wind. But I really have to say that I'm pretty annoyed that this second part is already from 2011 and the third book hasn't come out yet. Patrick, what are you doing? Well, anyway, I like this one a lot. Not quite as much as the first one, but this has some good development of the characters. It gets in an even more adult direction with sex and violence, which is always good. 1347 pages, and I used a randomizer to get me a random page from this. By the way, I don't even want to know how much pages this book is in German, because German books are always longer. I could show it to you, but I don't want to stand up right now. The first Game of Thrones novel is like this thick in English already, and the German version is this thick, but only half the story that's in the English one. So Game of Thrones in German has twice as many books, at least. I guess it's the same here. But anyway, let me read to you the random page number 345 that the randomizer gave me. Devi nodded. It'll keep him off you for an extra half hour at least. She reached out and pulled up the top of Fella's dress a bit. Start conservative, then bring them out a little more toward the end of the dinner. Lean. Use your shoulders. If he keeps seeing more and more, he'll think he's getting somewhere. It'll keep him from getting grabby. This is the most terrifying thing I've ever seen, Willem said quietly. Do all the women in the world secretly know each other? Sim asked. Because that would explain a lot. There's barely 100 of us in the Arcanum, Davy said scathingly. They confine us to a single wing of the Muse, whether or not we actually want to live there. How can we not know each other? I walked over to Fella and handed her a slender oak twig. I'll signal you when we're done. You signal me if he walks out on you. Fella arched an eyebrow. A woman could take that slightingly, she said, then smiled and slid the twig inside one of her long black gloves. Oh, they are black, damn it. Her earrings swung and caught the light again. They were emeralds. Smooth emerald teardrops. Those are lovely earrings, I said to Debbie. Where did you come by them? Her eyes narrowed, as if she were trying to decide whether or not to take offense. A pretty young boy used them to settle his debt, she said. Not that it's any of your business. I shrugged. Just curious. Yeah, so that's the part I have to turn into a picture, and I did. As you probably already can see what I'm talking. I think it also doesn't make too much sense to give you any context to this particular scene, since you don't know the characters or anything about this book. So let me just give you a quick rundown of the general story of this trilogy. So there's this boy. His name is Quote. You can quote me on that. He's part of a group of traveling musicians. Just to let you know, the story takes place in a medieval kind of fantasy world. Not quite as medieval as Lord of the Rings, but pretty close. A little more civilized maybe. And his father is a really great musician, and he's writing a song about the Chandrian. Those are legendary bad guys, which basically no one really believes that they really exist or ever existed. But one day they appear and they kill all of Quote's family. And apparently because of that song. So Quote grows up without a family and without any money. He has a really tough childhood. And then he makes it into the university. The university basically is some kind of Hogwarts in this world, where people learn, yeah, it's not quite magic. It's alchemy and working with runes and whatsoever, that for someone who doesn't know anything about that would look like magic. So the first book basically tells the story about all this time, about how he gets into the university, the people he meets over there, the enemies he makes, and it was really fun to read that. The next one starts at the university, but then he has to leave for a few semesters, and that's the part where it gets way more adult. All the magic he learned comes into action, he uses it for violence, and he gets to know that there's actual magic in this world. So yeah, bottom line is, it's a great sequel. It was very exciting for more than 1,300 pages, and I was really excited for every next chapter. Although I have to say, there are quite a lot of parts where I would have said that they could have been way shorter. It felt a little bit like the Stephen King way, that Patrick here is writing rather for the weight than for the quality of content in here. But nevertheless, it's a great universe. I can certainly recommend it to you, but I don't know, probably you should wait for the third and probably final part to come out, so you don't have to wait for it like I did. Oh yeah, and coming back to my drawing, yeah. I wasn't that happy with it. I also hoped for some page with content that didn't include so many people at once. So I rushed a bit through this painting, and I think you'll see it, especially with Fella in her dress. And yeah, she has green gloves and not black ones, my bad. But in general, from the composition, I feel it's okay. Of course, there's something wrong with her legs, there's something wrong with her long arms. And I could do better if I put another half or 1 hour into it. Basically, the painting was only an excuse for my opinion on this book. I hope you forgive me. Another book review, #booktube, is coming up in the next week, so stay tuned for that. The drawing I did for that also came out better in my opinion. And of course, there's also other drawing related content. So, thanks for listening, thanks for watching. Give a thumbs up if you liked it, and let me know what you think about this book. Any other book you might recommend for me. And if you like me to include more #booktube content. Looking forward to your answers. See you next time. May the Lord, that's me, be with you. See ya!